Hi friends, welcome to my channel Code Digital Get IT right here. If you're somebody who is new to the world of code and not sure where to begin with, my friend, you're at the right place. This channel has been specially designed to make it beginner friendly and keeping those in mind who are new to the world of code and not sure where to begin with. Alright, so let's get started. In this video series, we'll try to cover Python as a programming language, and we'll also try to cover the aspects of this programming language which is very frequently used by data scientists. So let's get started. So the very first topic that we will cover is to install Python in our laptop. So installation of Python is not so complex. It's as good as installing any other software that we would have installed in our laptop multiple number of times. We'll go through the steps one by one. So because I have Python installed in my laptop already, I might not be able to work it out and show it to you, but I have captured the screenshots to help you out and figure out the steps that you should follow while you're installing it. As a very first step, you must go to the official page of Python where it will help you to download the exe file. So this is how it looks. Be mindful of your operating system. I use a Windows operating system, so I downloaded the one for the Windows. If you're using a different operating system, you can go ahead and choose the operating system of your choice and then download the respective Python installer. Once you've downloaded it, you need to double click it to open up the installer, which follows a series of steps which I've captured in my screenshots. In the very first step, it will ask you to install the Python and it will have two options, install now, customize installation. My recommendation is go for install now. This will install the default features of Python, which is very much needed for any data science and which is good enough for our practice. You may want to go for customized installation if you want to go for some advanced features and any other optional features of Python. But unless you don't want to do that, you would want to stick to the install now option only. My recommendation, go for install now. Let's not make things complicated by using the customized installation. Once you click on install now option, it will ask you to choose the optional features. So my recommendation is go for all of them. Doesn't do any harm. They're useful features. First one is about documentation. So it will help you to download the file with the Python documentation. Second one is pip, which is very important feature. Using the pip functionality, we will be able to install additional Python packages, for example, NumPy, Pandas, and many more packages which we are going to learn eventually. Third one is about the idle. Idle is a development environment provided by Python by default. Using the idle environment also we can do the coding. It doesn't do any harm if you don't install it, but my recommendation is go for it because even if you install it, it doesn't do any harm. Python Test Suite is also recommended. It has some standard test libraries which you may need to do for any kind of a testing purpose. And PyLauncher. It is recommended to enable the users to launch Python from the command line. Once you have selected all the options, which will be by default selected, by default checked, and you need to click on next. This will open up the advanced option. Within advanced option, you need to check the first option, which is install Python for all users if you think your laptop is being used by multiple users and all of them need to work on it. If that is not the case, leave it unchecked. It will install only for the user who is running the file right now. Associate file with Python, this is recommended because this option will allow you to associate all the Python file types to the launcher or maybe an editor. Create shortcuts for installed application. This is your choice. If you want, you can go for it. My recommendation is go for it. It doesn't do any harm. Third one is the most important. Add Python to the environment variables. So make sure you check this because if you don't do this, it may demand you to go through some multiple manual steps. By checking this, you will be avoiding multiple manual steps which you may have to do without doing this. So my recommendation is go for it. The remaining three are not so important. You may leave it unchecked and click on install. Now, something I would like you to notice here is the Python as a software doesn't get installed under the program files just like any other softwares. Rather, it gets installed within the user. So if you notice here, it gets installed the user of the laptop, and it will be under that path. So we need to be mindful about that. Once we click on install, shouldn't take a long time, and if things go okay, then you will get this message which says setup was successful. You get this message, you can be rest assured that Python was successfully installed. Although it's not documented, but my recommendation is always try to restart your laptop before you start using Python. That's probably the best way to use any software that we install. So my recommendation is go ahead and restart your laptop at this point, and then we will double check if Python has been installed properly or not. So once you've restarted your laptop, there are a few ways to check if Python has been successfully installed or not. Let's look at them. So first is we need to go to a command prompt. How do we go to a command prompt? By typing cmd in the search box over here. So this will allow you to click on command prompt and it will open up a black screen which would look something like this. So over here we need to type python space dash dash version version. Now please be mindful of the syntax here. I wrote Python, I gave a space, dash, dash. Without any space, I typed version. Now you need to be very mindful of this, otherwise it will not work. Once you get the Python and the version of the Python installed, which looks something like this right now in my screen, you can be rest assured that Python has been successfully installed. At times, Python would have been installed, but you may still not get this. You'll get some messages like could not find Python, Python not installed properly. So don't worry, it could be that the environment variables have not been set properly. There's another way to check if Python has been installed properly or not, which is just go ahead to the search option, type IDLE. So this is another environment to work on Python code. You should open up a white screen, which should look something like this. And you can type any command, any small Python command. I'll say print hello. Right. Please be mindful of the syntax. If you don't follow the right syntax, you may not get the right results. So I write print hello, I hit enter, and this prints me hello. Alright, so next we'll learn how to install Anaconda, a very popular IDE to run the Python code. But by the way, if you're liking this video, please don't miss to hit the like, share and subscribe button to encourage us to upload further such videos. Thank you so much. So let me talk about installing Anaconda. What is Anaconda and why do we need it? Do we really need it? Can we not write Python code without an Anaconda? The answer is yes. I can definitely write Python codes without Anaconda. But Anaconda or any other IDE for that instance makes my life very easy when I have to do some kind of a code. You must have seen people writing Java code using Eclipse. So can I not write Java code without an Eclipse? Yes, of course I can. But I need to be very confident with my syntax. But whereas if you're using an IDE, it makes my life easy. And we'll be seeing how exactly it makes our life easy. In order to install Anaconda, I'll be sharing this link with you guys under this link. So in order to install Anaconda, you need to follow the instructions in this link, download the Anaconda installer. Now this is a very big file. It may take a while to get downloaded. Depends on your internet speed, of course. And once you have it downloaded, you need to follow the steps which you follow for any other installing any other softwares. So you can go ahead and follow the steps. Click on I agree. So the step-by-step documentation has been mentioned over here. Define the path where you want to install. Go ahead and choose that. And make sure you register Anaconda as default for the Python version. And click on install. That will install the Anaconda. Don't worry if it takes a while because it usually takes a while. I believe it took me around 5 to 7 minutes to install in my laptop. At times it may go till 10 minutes as well. So if it's taking time, don't worry, you're on the right path. Just wait for a while and very soon you should have Anaconda installed in your laptop. Now on the successful installation, you would get the screen which says completing the Anaconda bits setup and you have to click on finish. So once the installation is complete, again I would recommend to restart your laptop and try to open up the Anaconda prompt, which would look something like this. How do I open up the Anaconda prompt? It's exactly the same way. Go to search option, type Anaconda. You should see this navigator appearing over here right now. Click on this and it will open something like this. Now, Anaconda does not restrict itself to only Python. It offers the IDE for many other programming languages as well. But here we are interested only in Python, so we will go to Jupyter Notebook. Now, if I launch a Jupyter Notebook, this opens up the Jupyter Notebook in my default browser. In my case, the default browser is Chrome, so it opens up Jupyter in the Chrome. It opens a series of folders, which is nothing but a copy of my D drive. So these are all the folders which I have in my D drive. Out of this, I'll go to Python Learning, where I have the files to be I have the files to be created. So under this folder, I will create all my Jupyter notebooks. Now, what is a Jupyter notebook? Jupyter Notebook is a script, is exactly where you will write your code. So let's look at this. So I click on New, I click on Python. So this will open up a fresh Jupyter Notebook, which would look something like this. On the very first instance, it would not have named anything to it. It says untitled in the name. So I click on the titled and give it a name. I will write it as my first Jupyter notebook. And I click on rename. That will rename the notebook to a user-friendly name. Now, in this notebook, we have something called cells. So these are called cells. We write a code in each cell. So I'll write a code. I'll write print, hi, this is my first Jupyter notebook, right? And now in order to run this line of code, I'll have to hit the run button over here. I click on the cell which I want to run. My cursor lies on the cell which I want to run, and I click on run. And this executes the line of code which I have just written. Oops, I need to change this to my. I run this and it prints exactly what I have written. This means I have successfully installed Anaconda in my laptop and I'm all set to begin my learning process. Thank you so much.